Hello, everybody. Welcome to What's New Wednesday. Hey, Doreen. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. It's been a while since I've done one of these, couple months. Hello. Um, so I have lots and lots to share with you guys because there has been a lot of new stuff arriving in the last couple of months. Earlier today in my stories, I asked if anybody had any questions. And so I will start off by answering some of those questions, and then I will jump into showing you all the stuff that's here. Hi, thank you so much for joining tonight. Okay, so one of the first questions that I got was about needle recommendations for using pearl cotton, size 8 pearl cotton thread when you're doing embroidery. Because of how thick size 8 pearl cotton is, you're going to want a needle that has a good size eye. So some suggestions that I would make is possibly using a chenille needle. These are sharp-tipped needle that have really large eyes. So if you have trouble threading your needles, these are great. They are, the one thing with chenille needles is that because of the large eye, they're not fantastic for doing knot work. They're not great for French knots, bullion knots, because the thickness of the eye of the needle makes it difficult to pull your needle through to get a nice tight knot. Hello, thank you so much for joining, everybody. But chenille needles are a good option if you're wanting to use pearl cotton. Another really good option is the Maison Sajou size 26 needles. These are really, this is their embroidery needles. These are really nice thin needles, but they've got a really large eye to them, so they can accommodate the thicker threads. So these work really well with pearl cottons. And again, these are the Maison Sajou ribbon embroidery needles. Also have a huge eye, so it makes it really easy to thread these. Something that comes in really handy when you're trying to thread the thicker threads through the eyes of the needles is the Clover embroidery needle threader. This has a really nice thick metal filament to pull your thread through your needle. It's not the little thin wire that kind of snaps really easily. Hi. So this comes in really handy when you're trying to thread the thicker threads, metallic threads, wool threads, anything that's really difficult to get through an eye of needle. The Clover embroidery needle threader is really, really handy. So that was one of the questions, was suggestions for needles for size 8 pearl cotton. One of the other questions I got was about my scissor recommendations. And I'm actually have a whole bunch of new scissors, so I'm going to talk about scissors a little bit more a little bit later. And then somebody asked me whether I got into sashiko while I was living in Japan. No, I did not. When I was living and working in Japan in my early 20s, and so I was pretty busy doing what you do in your early 20s when I was there. I was also really into dance back then. I used to dance flamenco. So all of my spare time when I was living in Japan, I was taking traditional Japanese dance classes and traveling mostly. So I wasn't really into sashiko while I was living there. I got into sashiko probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And the first, they also asked me what was the first project that I did. The first sashiko project that I did was the Olympus 212 sashiko sampler. That was my first one, and I absolutely fell in love with it and kind of ran with it from there. So that was how I started getting into sashiko. Okay, so I think those were all the questions that folks asked. So I'm going to jump in and start showing you all some of the new stuff that has arrived in the shop. There are a lot of new pins and needles and pincushions in the shop. Over winter break, I started experimenting with wool embroidery, and I made this needle book. The cover, the pattern for this is from the Simply Stitched with Applique book. If you're interested in that, this is a really beautiful book. So I made this. I am really loving this style of embroidery, and I want to do more of it. So as I was kind of appliquing these little pieces down, I realized that I needed tinier pins in order to be able to hold these into place. So I started ordering a bunch of different applique pins for the shop. And so now you can find them in the shop. There are the clover applique pins. Applique pins are really tiny. They're generally about 3/4 of an inch. And they make it really easy to stitch around them. Like if you're doing needle turn applique, you can put your fabric on here. I guess it's really hard to see on here, but there's a little applique pin right there. So it keeps it in place, but the pin is small enough that it stays out of your way as you're stitching. So applique pins can come in really handy for things like this, projects like the sashigo tree that I've been working on forever, these little petals that I appliqued on. I did not individually stitch these down. I used a glue that is escaping, the name of it is escaping my mind right now, but if you wanted to hand stitch these down, you could use little applique pins to keep the fabric onto your base fabric. So there's a bunch of new applique pins in the shop. There's the clover ones. There are these Quilter's Choice red ones. These two are the smallest ones and the finest ones. I prefer the clover ones simply because of the case. The case on this has a nice little latch, so it stays secure, and you can keep all your pins nice and secure in there. The case on this red one is not fantastic. The tops, I've taped all the tops down because the tops pop off really easily, but the pins are really nice, and I really like the little red head on all those pins. I also have the Tulip Hiroshima applique pins. These have really fun colors. They're really bright orange, yellow, green. They're a little bit longer. I'd say these are closer to an inch than 3/4 of an inch, but they come in the nice handy little storage tube. And then there's the Lori Holt Pretty applique pins. This is really cute. The storage container is a little mason jar, similar to the clover ones. Has a nice little latch, keeps all your pins securely in there. Hello to everybody that has joined. And the colors on these pins are really pretty. They're the signature Lori Holt colors. These are also a little bit longer than 3/4 of an inch, probably closer to an inch, but really cute, handy. There's, I think, 250 of them in the little box. So loads of new pins in the shop. Another fun use for these, my husband got me one of those, hi Kimona, one of those pinnable world maps over Christmas, and thank you, you're so kind. And so I use these little applique pins to pin cities on the map that we've gone to, that we got some map pins, but the heads on those were really large, and so these little tiny pins for really dense areas like Europe and stuff came in really handy for that, for pinning on maps. They work really well too. Okay, so to go with all of these pins, there are a ton of new pin cushions and pin bowls. My favorite are probably the collection of Fair Trade soapstone pin bowls from Kenya. These are, I have a ton of different designs and colors. I've gotten 2 restocks of them, and they have gone really quickly. There's still some in the shop, and I'll be getting some more, but this is just an example of one of them. These are hand-carved, hand-painted by a collective of folks in Kenya. They are paid a fair wage for all of their work, and they're fantastic. They're soapstones. They're a little bit heavy, and they're really nice and sturdy. This is the Tree of Life bowl with all the pins in it. Take all the pins out so you can see that one. This is the little teal Tree of Life. And I've got kind of this size, this depth, and I also have deeper ones that are about 2 inches deep. Those are fantastic for keeping pins, but I keep one on the arm of my couch, and as I'm stitching, all my little thread ends go in there, so they work really well for that too. So if you just type in Kenya into the search bar in the shop, all of these will come up. And like I said, I think I've got like 10 different colors and styles. Because they're coming from this kind of collective of artists, I cannot guarantee that I will always be able to get the same ones, the same colors. They change their designs. Each one is hand painted, so each one's a little bit different. So if you see one that you like, go ahead and grab it, because I can't guarantee that I'll be able to get the same exact pattern or colors again in the future. So just a word of warning. Let's see. I think I said that I would show you guys some of my own personal pincushions. I showed you guys this one on Instagram recently. This is from Fabric and Ink. And if you're not familiar with her, you should definitely go check out her feed. She does amazing work. She releases her pincushions like on a set date. And they tend to sell out really fast. So you're going to want to set an alarm on your phone for when she says that she's releasing her next batch. And I got this one and this little mountain cap from her. She hand stitches them all. They're absolutely incredible. This is my little pair that I got at Liberty of London when I was in London a couple of years ago. This is one that a friend of mine in Japan got for me and sent to me. And this is a kimono silk on top. It's really pretty. So I've got tons and tons of pincushions. I love them. And I collect them, and there's more of them sitting back here behind me. So those are not the end of the pincushions. How could I have forgotten these? So there's also some brand new, really beautiful new pincushions from Kohana. Yes, the yellow bowl went so quickly from the Kenyan bowls. I'm trying to get many more of those because those are really popular. So these are some brand new pincushions from Kohana. Kohana is the same company that makes the little tiny thread snips. These are kokeshi doll pincushions, and you open these up, and there's a little wool pincushion inside. It comes with 3 sewing needles. Oh, I'm so glad you got it. And then there is a little magnet here at the bottom so that it can pick up stray needles, pins that you have on your work surface. These are really beautiful. They worked with a kokeshi doll museum in northern Japan to design these and to keep them authentic to that art style. So I have them in pink, green, and blue. So these are brand new in the shop. The other really nice pincushions that I got, there were 2 sets. The other set already sold out very quickly, but I still have a few of these left. This is a collection of pincushions that is perfect for any pincushion collector in your life. These are handmade pins and the matching pincushion that depict Japanese folk tales. So this is the story of Princess Kaguya, and the pins are characters from the folk tales. And then inside here is the matching pincushion. Her story is also called the bamboo cutter. It translates into the bamboo cutter. So this is a piece of bamboo that has been lacquered, and then it's got the pincushion inside with the matching pins. So like I said, there were 2 sets. Right now this is the only one that I have left, but there's also another set that goes with the folk tale called Inch Boy, and I'll be getting a couple more of those, so keep an eye on the shop for those. But these are really a work of art. They are, the detail on these little pins is pretty spectacular. So go and take a look at those. Some more new items that we have. Got a couple new embroidery kits from Kiriki Press. There is the Blue Jay and the Tabby Cat. If you're not familiar with Kiriki kits, these are kits that allow you to make these little plushies. They come in 3 different levels. The Tabby Cat is a level 2, and the Blue Jay is a level 3. The Otter and the Hedgehog are level 3s. And what that means is that it's a lot more stitch work. The stitches aren't necessarily any more complicated, it's just that the entire surface of the doll is covered in stitches. Thank you. Right now, my store is only online. I don't have a physical location to show you guys or for you guys to come, but maybe one day. And then these are the level 1 kits. And what a level 1 kit is it's a lot less stitching. They're a lot faster to do because you're just accenting the design that's already on the fabric with some stitch work. So that's how the levels work in the Kiriki kits. But there's a couple new ones in the shop. And then there is a new kit from Tamar Nahir. This is the Magical Autumn Mushroom Kit. The Tamar kits do not come with embroidery hoops, but I do sell these faux wood hoops in the shop. The ones that I have in the shop are a little bit different than the one that you see in the picture. I have 2 different sizes. The large one is going to give you about 1 inch of space around the design, and the small one is going to be really tight up close to the design. So if you want to get an oval faux wood hoop to go with this kit, those are your 2 choices. But I also just got oval wooden embroidery hoops back. These have been gone since the beginning of the pandemic, so like almost a year. I haven't been able to get these, and I just got these, so that was super exciting when these finally arrived. So I've got the 4x6 and the 5x8 size, and these are now back in the shop. So I've got oval hoops again. Yay! That's really exciting. These are the hardwood beach hoops. F.A. Edmonds makes them. They've got the brass closure with the little spot for the screwdriver if you want to super duper tighten them. So the oval hoops are back in the shop. All right, needles. So lots of new needles in the shop as well. There are some new sampler kits from Bowen of everybody's favorite embroidery needles. These are a size 1 through 10 sampler pack, and these are their Milliner straw needles in a sampler pack from sizes 3 through 12. I have been using these lately, and I love them. They are super sharp, a little bit too sharp. I poked myself pretty well with them the other day, but they are really strong. I'm pretty tough on my needles. I tend to bend them as I stitch quite a bit. And I'm not bending these. These are holding up really well. So I'm a big fan, becoming a big fan of these. A new company that I've started carrying is Foxglove Cottage. And this is a sampler pack of their needles. You get 1 each of their size 7 through 11 embroidery needles. So you get to try different sizes. Their needles are super thin. So if you like stitching with a really thin needle, and they've got a good sized eye. So these are really nice. Let's see. I purchased a Unsha embroidery kit from you recently, and the names of the stitches are in French. Do you have any tips? So most of her kits do have the instructions in English as well. If you want to send me a message, I can look and see if for some reason you did not get the English instructions. I can try to get the English instructions for you. And if they don't, usually she has pretty good illustrations that go with her kits and her designs. But again, if you could send me an email or a direct message here on Instagram and with your email address, and I can send you a translation of her stitch guide if that didn't come with your kit. Okay, so Foxglove stitches. This is the embroidery sampler pack. And then also this is Foxglove Cottage, their size 10 straw needles. There's 16 little needles in here. This is the needle. When I was learning how to quilt, this is what I learned how to bind quilts with this needle. And I don't bind with anything else. So you're very welcome. So I thought I would add them to the shop because they are great needles. So I am open to adding more of their needles if you all like them. Just give me some feedback. If you try them out, let me know what you think. So new brand of needles for you all to try out. Okay, let's talk about scissors. So somebody sent me a question about which are my favorite scissors. That is a tough question because I have a lot of scissors and I like them all for different things. The scissors, it depends on what you're using them for, is the answer to my question. This embroidery scissors that I probably use the most often are these ones. I think they're called tiny scissors on the website. I like really small scissors with a super sharp tip because I tend to use the tip of my scissors to pull out stitches when I don't like them. So that's kind of my choice for embroidery scissors. I like to have a really sharp tip. So these are the ones that I use the most often. Until recently, when I discovered these beautiful little ones. These are made by Bowen. If we ever get some sunshine again here in North Carolina, I have these that I'll be adding them to the shop. I just haven't had a chance to photograph them. I'm glad you like them. So these will be in the shop hopefully this weekend if the weather cooperates. But I just discovered these and they're amazing. They're itty bitty, but they still have a really nice, for your fingers, they fit really nicely. They're not too tight. And they've got a super sharp, slightly curved tip. So they are fantastic for digging out stitches that you don't like. So these have become kind of my favorites at the moment. I'm still super partial to the little itty bitty snips. I just keep these in my stitching box all the time because they're really cute and they're handy and they're sharp and they cut thread really well. So these are, if you're talking embroidery scissors, those are probably the ones that I use the most often. But if you just kind of all around general scissors, so this is my pair. These are bonsai scissors meant for pruning, but I picked these up at the Japanese garden. You were using your male scissors for embroidery this week. Oh no, no, you should get some embroidery scissors. So I picked these up when I was in Portland a couple years ago at the Japanese garden, and I love them. I have never used these in my garden. I use them in my sewing room all the time. I cut fabric with them. I cut all sorts of things with them. I love these scissors. So the really exciting thing is I've been looking for a supplier of this kind of scissor for a really long time, and I finally found one. So I now have bonsai scissors in the shop, which is really exciting. The Japanese garden in Portland is gorgeous. I love it. They are a little bit bigger than my pair, but they are fantastic. They are super sharp, have a really nice tip. You can definitely use them in your garden if that's what you do. But I love these scissors. I use them all the time. They're also really pretty. So if you like to style your pictures for social media, these look really, really nice in pictures. So these are new in the shop. I announced them earlier this week, sold out really well, but I still have, I think, 3 or 4 pairs left. So you can find these bonsai scissors in the shop now. Similar in style to those are the K Buckley perfect scissors that I have added to the shop in 2 different sizes, the mediums and the small. What makes these scissors really cool is they have this comfort grip to make it really easy to hold, but they have a micro serrated edge, which means that they're perfect for cutting fabric, like really detailed fabric, because the serrated edge helps to keep your fabric in place. So if you're cutting out applique, for example, I really wish I'd had these when I was cutting out these little petals. This kind of scissor will help you cut these really detailed tiny pieces, because it'll help keep your fabric in place as you're snipping. So these are new into the shop, and like I said, I've got the medium size. You can see it here in my hands. That's about as big as they are. And then the small size, I'd say, is more like embroidery sized. This can cut between 4 to 6 layers of fabric at a time, and the smaller size can handle like 1 or 2 layers at a time. And they come with the nice handy little cover. We've got a couple new pretty scissors. They're these black and gold scissors, and I also have these red Victorian handle scissors with the matching sheath. So those are really nice. There are some new thread snips from Kai with an ergonomic handle. So if you do a lot of snipping, if you do chain piecing for quilting and you're cutting lots and lots of threads, these make it really easy to snip. Kai is a great company, super sharp blades that last forever. And then the last ones that I have are the new LDH thread snips in Prism. So they are in this rainbow color. I've had them in the shop for a while in silver and in black, but now there is this really cool rainbow prism color. These sit in your hand really nicely, very sharp, great for snipping threads, small bits of fabric, clipping corners as you're sewing. There's all sorts of uses for these. So they come with thread snips, and you've got the little cap because the tip is super sharp. So those are new in the shop. These are not new, but today the long-awaited restock of mini looms got here. So the looms are back in the shop. There's the 10-inch and the 10 hook and the 14 hook are there. The difference between the 10 and the 14 is the width of the patch that you'll be able to make. So you can see that the 10 is just a tiny bit smaller than the 14. So this will let you do smaller patches. This lets you do a slightly wider area. They are both available. They're both in the shop. I put a new tutorial up on YouTube a couple weeks ago that walks you through step by step exactly how to use these. So check that out if you are interested in getting started on how to use these. And like I said, these are back. And the perfect companion to these, which also arrived today, is the Laine Saint-Pierre wool darning thread. There's 4 different colorways. This is wool thread from France. You can use this for darning. You can use this for embroidery. It is a super duper soft, really lovely wool thread. This is the Autumn Colors set, and you get 12 different colors in a pack. And I have, like I said, there's 4 different colorways available, so these packs they're back, and they're available again, along with the Saint-Just pincushions and needles, and all sorts of good stuff. So it was really exciting. All these boxes arrived today, and it was just perfect timing for this. There is new fabric in the shop. Some of you may have seen, this was a bag that I made a couple weeks ago. This is the Patterns by Annie Catch All Caddy 2.0. pattern, but this is a new fabric that I have in the shop. It's called Indigo Clouds. It is from the Seven Berry Nada Homespun collection, and it's a really beautiful print. I paired it with the ivory and blue crosses, and on the inside is the ivory Sakuda fabric. So they all three of those work really well together. This is, on a side note, if you like making bags, this was a lot of fun to do. Patterns by Annie has added video tutorials to a lot of her bags that she now has available on her site, because a lot of folks warned me that putting the binding on at the end was terrible, but watching her video made it not so terrible. It was pretty easy. So great bag, new fabric. There is also from the Essex Speckled collection, the cream color is finally in stock again. And so I was able to get a bolt of that. This is really pretty. It's got these little specks of color in there. So I think this is going to make a fantastic embroidery background. I can't wait to use that. And from the Nada Homespun collection, there is this white with navy waves pattern that also just came in. That's really pretty. So the last thing that I have to show you is kind of a sneak peek of something that isn't quite ready but will be very soon. So this year I have decided to do the Sarah Beth Timmons calendar stitch along. So each month she is going to be releasing a embroidery pattern of that month. And so by the end of the year, you'll end up with a perpetual calendar, which I think is really fun and cool. I love her designs. I have tons of her patterns. I love her use of color, and she is a master at blending stitches and thread painting, and that's something I really want to learn and get better at. So I'm going to be doing this all year long, and with Sarah's permission, I'm going to be putting together thread sets every month for her stitch along. So this is the February thread collection. It is almost ready. I am missing one color that I just got the notification about an hour ago that just shipped out today. So hopefully the entire set will be here by the 2nd, I think it said, and I'll have this available to go out. So these will be available in the shop, and I'm converting them into Cosmo colors. So the thread sets will be available in Cosmo, and then each month there will also be a limited number of the sets available in DMC, because I am taking this opportunity to work on and improve the Cosmo DMC conversion chart that I've been working on for ages. There are a bunch of Cosmo DMC conversion charts available out there, but they're not fantastic. And the bigger issue is that last year for the 70th anniversary, Cosmo released a ton of new colors. So the Cosmo, this was the old Cosmo thread card. And so these were all the colors of Cosmo thread that were available. So the Cosmo thread colors went from this to now they have 500 colors available. So a lot of the Cosmo to DMC conversion charts that are out there don't include all of these new colors. Also last year DMC released 35 new colors, and I've never been able to find a chart that converts those new colors into the Cosmo colors. So anyway, this is a huge project that I'm slowly working on. And so as I'm working this year on putting together these new Cosmo color sets, I'll also be ordering the DMC versions of these color sets to be able to work on my color conversion chart. So these new monthly color sets will be coming out at the beginning of every month. They will coordinate with Sarah Beth Timmons' embroidery calendar embroidery sampler club. She is offering the patterns. You can buy them from her site either month by month, or you can subscribe for the whole year. That's up to you. So that's new, is that there will be loads of new Cosmo color sets in the shop this year. Like I said, this one's almost ready. I'm just waiting for this color to arrive, the Cosmo version of this color to arrive, and then these will be up on the shop. And something that I was working on over break is some Cosmo mystery sets. So those are in the shop now. You can purchase one of these, and you will get 12 mystery colors of Cosmo embroidery floss. If you want to grow your collection, I have a bunch of Cosmo thread here that I've never gotten to list individually in the shop, so I threw them together into color coordinated sets, and that's what is going out as a mystery set. So if you want to grow your Cosmo color set, you can do that. And then I'm also, these are the colors for the January pattern. I'll be putting together a set of these colors as well. So lots and lots of Cosmo sets that will be coming your way this year. There is a new Snuggly Monkey needle minder. Some of you guys have found it already. This is the 10-year anniversary of Snuggly Monkey. I officially incorporated Snuggly Monkey in 2011, in the fall of 2011. So this fall, Snuggly Monkey will be 10. So I'm throughout the year going to be doing a bunch of little things to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of my shop, which is very exciting. And the little needle minder is the first one. So these are super strong little magnets. They're great for keeping your needle, and they also hold scissors really well. So these are in the shop now. You can find them. Some of you may have noticed that I have revamped, and I'm continuing to revamp, the Maker's Perks program. There's lots of new prizes that you can claim with your Maker's Perks points. The needle minder is one of them. There's also, it's just a lot easier to use now. It's a lot simpler. You can start earning and cashing your rewards a lot faster. You can, as low as 150 points, you can start cashing that in for coupons back to save on your purchases. So if you haven't gone into your Maker's Perks panel recently, go on in there and check that out. So I think that was everything that I have. I'm looking around to make sure that I didn't forget anything. Thank you all so much for joining me this evening. I will be back again soon. I have so much new stuff that has come in. So hopefully, like I said, we will get some sunshine here in North Carolina again, and I can take pictures and get all this stuff listed and out to you guys. But thank you again for joining me. Hope you're doing well. Stay safe, stay well, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye.